We're being siloed into a bubble. Our likes empower the algorithm. It feeds us what we want, to keep us engaged. It wants to sell our attention. We slip deeper into a constraining narrative. But we must break free. We must burst the bubble. Truths will be learned. Cognitive dissonance will make our hearts and heads ache. Different perspectives will bring us wisdom. Some truths will be hilarious, others painful. But we must be free. We must break into the DisAlgorithm.
Alright, welcome to the DisAlgorithm. We're going to go through my feed, see what's going on. What is this middle up? I don't trust the music. So the big beautiful bill is supposed to be voted on today. Joey, let's see.
Healthcare. They didn't want to have so. Okay, one more thing. Let me just do a public service. Since the 1930s, the medical establishment has never wanted to have universal health care. They didn't want to have Social Security. The super rich fought Social Security in the 1930s. They fought Medicare and Medicaid in the 1960s. Medicare and Medicaid are the only way that many seniors and poor people can get health care, and rich people do not want it. They've been wanting to get rid of it, and they've been looking for an entertainer who could be dazzling enough to poor folks to get them to vote to get rid of it for themselves. Y'all did that in 2024 by electing Donald Trump. He played you because he told you he was going to get rid of tax on tips and tax on overtime. He's not going to do that. That's not going to happen. This is about stealing your money and giving it to Jeff Bezos from Amazon, Mark Zuckerberg from Meta, and Donald Trump. They're stealing from you and using your fear of immigrants and trans people to do it. Okay, one more thing. Let me just do a public service. Since the 1930s.
They love those guys when they're sucking up to them, huh? What is this?
Her and I have gone back and forth on Twitter.
Yeah, that would be really interesting to listen to.
Plus, she's so young.
I'm so interested in her.
Yeah, she's 28 years old. I mean, that's amazing. The whole thing's amazing.
She's just fascinating.
Yeah.
You should have her on.
How about when she was getting a hard time because they found a video, like they thought they were going to get her.
No,
they found
here's
a video
the thing, though.
of
That
her
was
in college dancing.
Yeah, but you know what? Everyone loved that video.
Right,
like the whole narrative that, like, some random person on Twitter put that video out.
Right, but the point is they did it because they thought they were going to shame her.
They're idiots.
But how funny is that?
I mean,
they thought
it was the most charming thing in the entire world.
It was amazing.
Anyone who did not love her already fell in love with her. That's what it accomplished.
And then her response to that was her doing a little dance.
She's a genius. She's a social media genius. The question is, does she, do her ideas stand up at all? Well, it'd be interesting to hear.
Her ideas can evolve, but what she has that's unique is she's real, and she seems to be a really good person. She seems to be a good person. Now, whether or not I agree with her tax policy, I'm not an economist. I'm a fucking moron, okay? I don't know anything about economics. I really don't. I mean...
But you should have her on with some economists. Like, no?
I'd rather have her on I just want to know about her as a person first. Look, my thoughts on politicians is you can hire economists. You could listen to them. You could talk to them. What we really need is people that have the right idea as far as where humans should go, the way we should behave, the way we should treat each other. This overwhelming need for community that we all share. We have to pull this thing together. And we have to look at each other as a community, and that's lacking. And the people that are polarizing, both on the left and the right, they don't want to look at it that way. They want to look at people and say, "Hey, you will never get better," like that 16-year-old kid. No need to ever forgive him. This kind of crazy talk, whether it's from the right or from the left, is what we really need to stomp out. We need to stop. We need to be nicer to each other. We need to figure out that we don't have time. We're not going to live long. If you're 50 years old and this is your idea of the world, like, fuck, man, you're halfway done and you're an idiot.
Yeah.
You're looking at shit completely wrong and you're halfway done with this trip if everything goes perfect.
That's what he thought about AOC. I wonder if Joe's still open to having AOC on the podcast. I don't know. I don't think he feels the same way about her now. He thought she was genuine and a good person. Well, I'm not going to judge her as a person, but her politics are so stupid. She's a socialist.
Student loan forgiveness.
What?
I would just like to announce that I did not join the military to serve my country. I joined the military to get a VA home loan, the GI Bill, and student loan forgiveness.
Well then, go away.
That's it. I would just like to announce that I did not join the military to serve my country. I joined the military to get a VA home loan.
What a selfish brat. Why do we got a bunch of selfish brats in the military? Ugh. Jeez. Well, I mean, I know a lot of people that join the military just, for the job, the benefits as far as helping out with school and stuff. But like, if you're not willing to serve your country and actually go on the battlefield, if you're not willing to do that, then what are you doing in the military? I'm skipping a bunch of stuff. I don't know what it is. Let's see. I don't care. I don't want to read all that garbage. It's probably important stuff, but I just don't want to.
These are all the modules that the instructor set up for us. Are universities in blue states really indoctrinating their students? Well, watch this and then you tell me. Okay, so this is the political psychology course I'm currently taking. I'm going to scroll down here. These are all the modules that the instructor set up for us. I'm going to go down to module 6. I'm going to click on reading folder. I'm going to open this. And here are all of the articles that the instructor sent us to read for this week's module. Again, the instructor sent us all of these. I'm going to click on deepening radicalization. I'm going to click on it here. I'm going to scroll down a little bit and we are going to read this part together. Okay. Heading into the 2020 election, President Trump is prepared for the second time in a row to run a racist campaign. Let's read that again, shall we? Heading into the 2020 election, President
Of course,
Trump is prepared for the second time in a row
what did you
to
expect?
run a racist
I mean, we all know
campaign.
this is the way they are.
Okay, now let's go out of this and go to call it white supremacy. I'm going to go over here in the first paragraph here. This is an article by Charles M. Blow. It is clear that Donald Trump sees the activation of white nationalism and anti-otherness as his path to re-election. Like, I am sorry, but what? That's literally what it says.
Yeah.
So riddle me this, why are college educators having their students read multiple op-eds that insinuate the sitting president, President Trump, and his supporters are racist? This is extremely, extremely biased and unethical. I just think that...
That's why we're getting rid of the Department of Education, and we are not funding these schools anymore, and we're taking away their funding, getting rid of DEI, and yeah. Any of this kind of bullcrap curriculum We know what they do in colleges. I mean, everyone comes out of there with blue hair and, you know, some gender fluid identity that it's not natural. They just get brainwashed in there. They all come out of there totally liberal. Or not even liberal. It's extreme leftism, radical leftism. I have nothing wrong. I have no problem with liberal. It just doesn't exist anymore. It's all radical leftism. I mean, the classic liberal is what MAGA Republicans are. It's the same thing, pretty much. I mean, I don't see any difference. The classic liberal from the 90s are just the same as MAGA Republicans. We're called far right now, so that tells you how far the Overton has moved over to the left. It's crazy, 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 crazy. Senate narrowly passes big beautiful bill. Well, Senate, yeah. What's happening in the House? Okay, it is my great honor to announce that I have just made a trade deal with Socialist Republic of Vietnam. After speaking with Tu Lam, the highly respected General Secretary of the Communist Party of Vietnam, it will be a great deal of cooperation between our two countries. The terms are that Vietnam will pay the United States a 20% tariff on any and all goods sent into our territory, and a 40% tariff on any transshipping. In return, Vietnam will do something that they have never done before: give the United States of America total access to their markets for trade. In other words, they will open their markets to the United States, meaning that we will be able to sell our product into Vietnam at zero tariff. Wow. It is my opinion that the SUV, or it is sometimes referred to as large engine vehicle, which does so well in the United States, would be a wonderful addition to the various product lines within Vietnam. Dealing with General Secretary Tu Lam, which I did personally, was an absolute pleasure. Thank you for your attention on this matter. Wow. Let's see. Drill, baby, drill. My representatives have a long and productive meeting with Israelis today on Gaza. Israel has agreed to the necessary conditions to finalize the 60-day ceasefire, during which time we will work with all parties to end the war. The Qataris and Egyptians, who have worked very hard to help with peace, will deliver this final proposal. I hope for the good of the Middle East that Hamas takes this deal, because it will not be good. It will not get better. It will only get worse. Thank you for your attention on this matter. Credit where credit is due. Elon Musk says that real Donald Trump has successfully resolved several serious conflicts around the world. Nice.
The guy with the pentagram and the holy water, and he's like, yeah, you sure? I mean, with artificial intelligence, we are summoning the demon. You know those stories where there's the guy with the pentagram and the holy water, and he's like, yeah, you sure you can control the demon? Didn't work out. I don't know, except to say that by the time these lawsuits are decided, we'll have digital God. So ask digital God at that point. these lawsuits won't be decided before on a time frame that is relevant.
And is that in that new building off to the side?
That's in Memphis, actually.
It's in Memphis?
Yeah.
Oh, so that's where you were?
Yeah.
I see.
Memphis,
okay.
The capital of ancient Egypt.
Right. Yeah, you're bringing what?
Perhaps that's where our new God will come from.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. Yeah, I wish that was funny. Yeah, okay, so I want to talk to you about alignment.
I wish that was funny. Yeah, all right.
You guys just turned on Colossus, which is like the largest private compute cluster, I guess, of GPUs anywhere. Is that right?
It's the most powerful supercomputer of any kind.
This is the dawning of the age of Colossus.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Dr. Charles Forbin. In a few moments, Colossus will address us directly.
This is the voice of world control. Obey and live, or disobey and die.
The frightening story of the day man built himself out of existence. Colossus sees all, senses all, knows all, controls all armaments and all defenses.
Well, I'm very pro-military, so to be clear.
Do you have a spiritual life?
Well, it sort of depends on what spiritual means.
Long term, I think there'll be more, the ratio of humanoid robots will be more than 1-to-1. So there might be 2 humanoid robots or more, maybe 10 for every 1 human, which means, well in excess of 10 billion humanoid robots.
There's perhaps still a role for humans in that we may give AI meaning.
Can science and religion coexist?
Probably not.
Okay. Do you pray?
I didn't even pray when I almost died of malaria.
Wow, that's really not praying.
Right.
How do you see warfare transforming in the future?
So the next, well, in fact, the current war in Ukraine is very much a drone war already. If you employ AI and drones, do you go down this path where eventually you get to Terminator, you know?
That's so freaky.
In the air, the hunter-killer aerial weapons platform. This isn't science fiction, it's reality. Thanks to our top-secret innovation, Skynet, the revolutionary artificially intelligent battlefield management network.
Starlink is the backbone of the Ukrainian military communication system because it can't be blocked. So if you don't have communications and positioning, then the drones don't work. But I mean, essentially, if when you're making military drones, you are making Terminators. I think you'll somewhat be forced into giving the drone localized AI.
What do you mean by localized AI?
Meaning it's autonomous killing machine. You're fighting a machine that's gonna, aim with micron level accuracy, and never gets tired. I have no problem being hated, by the way.
I hear
Hate
you.
away.
Well,
with artificial intelligence, we are summoning the demon.
Okay,
we're gonna summon the car. It's gonna hit summon. Right there. Summoning the car. It's the AI.
So these demons of the mind, are, for the most part, harnessed to productive ends.
But that doesn't mean that once in a
A
while.
long video.
You know.
Alright. Interesting. Yeah, it doesn't look good for humanity. Oh yeah, Diddy got freaking exonerated on most of the cases.
Like they're going to do with Harvey Weinstein, $60 a piece, selling for $30. You do this. This is a
George Soros is a mass. Basically, whataboutism? Just
$60 a piece, selling for $30.
Oh, this is
you
a whole
do this.
broadcast.
This is a loss leader. This is crazy.
Yeah, Diddy got exonerated of most of the serious charges against him. James Comey's daughter threw the Diddy case just like she did with all the other Jeffrey Epstein cases. Tune in now. Alright, FBI arrests 2 Chinese spies on U.S. soil. What were they caught doing will terrify you. What were they caught doing? Sorry, I'm trying to find something. DOJ is now investigating possible funding of ICE riots. So let's go to Diddy. Diddy verdict. Found not guilty of sex trafficking and racketeering. He has been found guilty of transportation to engage in prostitution, which he's not going to get a very long sentence for that at all. Yeah. Yep, not guilty on racketeering, sex trafficking by force, fraud or coercion, sex trafficking, another count of it. So he's only guilty of these 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution. And they had dropped a bunch of other ones before this. And they were saying, oh yeah, we're going to get him on all this. Nope. No, they weren't. Dumb. They always get away with it. They always get away with it. What we got here?
I have a unique opinion. I want to help Puff Daddy get out of jail. And I wrote him a little song. You guys can sing if you want.
Uh-oh. I can't.
We miss you, Puff. We want you.
Remember that if the migrants sneaking across the border looked like this, liberal women would form SS units overnight. It's true. Form SS units overnight? What does that mean? I don't know what it means by SS units. But they would be pissed off. Yeah, like, we don't need more white people. Alright, this is all dumb stuff. Let's see. Let's go to the White House. Alright, no news there. That'd be funny. Yeah. Alright. Well, bye bye bacon. Huh. So dumb. Let's see, Congress. So, alright, I'm gonna go to YouTube and see if they got anything on it. Latest from the White House.
And, you know, here's a 2-minute segment, and then let's go to a commercial break and move on and have another guest talk about something else and all this. You're hearing a lot more inside baseball here because we're definitely live a lot more when it comes to what's happening right this second. And also giving some context, of course, on the big, beautiful bill. We did that just moments ago. And we have some live interviews coming up, including we have Lee Greenwood a bit later in the broadcast.
Let me look through some more. Alright. Nothing's happening. They're trying to pass the bill right now, so that's all that's going on. No. What's she doing? Walking around in her pajamas grabbing Red Bull? Alright. Late night fun, I guess. Yes, they were all wrong. In spectacular fashion, Victor Davis Hanson just dismantled the so-called experts who've been wrong about Trump's policies at every turn. He dropped 3 brutal examples that leave no room for doubt, and ended with this warning to the media elites. You should try to shed your Trump derangement syndrome because it's really affecting your powers of judgment and analysis, and you're going to lose readers.
Experts. We know they've been wrong. I want to talk about our so-called experts. We know they've been wrong when they sign these collective letters, 51 intelligence authorities assured us Hunter's laptop was pretty much made up in Russia. But recently, in some of the marquee newspapers, sites, Wall Street Journal, Bloomberg, of course the New York Times, they've made a series of statements by so-called experts that are absolutely confounded by reality. I want to talk about our so-called experts. We know they've been wrong when they sign these collective letters, 51.
To find the answer, which is to compare what you would do if you wanted to find the answer, which is to compare outcomes in a fully vaccinated group to health outcomes in an unvaccinated group. And CDC did that study in 1999. They brought in a team of scientists under a Belgian researcher named Thomas Verstraeten.
So they did that study. They studied the health of people that were vaccinated and the people that were unvaccinated after their general health afterwards. So they did this back in '99.
And they looked at the data. They looked at children who had received the hepatitis vaccine within the first 30 days of life and compared those children to children who had received the vaccine later or not at all. And they found an 135% elevated risk of autism among the vaccinated children. And it shocked them. They kept the study secret, and then they manipulated it through 5 different iterations to try to bury the link. And, we know how they did it. They got rid of all the older children, essentially, and just had younger children who were too young to be diagnosed. And they stratified the data, and they did a lot of other tricks. And all of those studies were the subject of that kind of trickery.
That makes me so mad. Oh my gosh.
What you would do.
One intelligence.
Sorry, I thought I was still on this thread. Took a little detour into
Combined Israel and the later United States strikes on the 3 key sites of uranium enrichment in Iran may not have done very much. We had a leak from the Pentagon, of course, that the media picked up that there was marginal damage. Anybody who looked at the post-operational photographs could see that there was substantial damage. And so we had David Albright, one of the most prestigious an analyst of nuclear proliferation. He said there was serious damage. We had the head of the international AEC, Mr. Grossi, serious damage. We had Israel, serious damage, Israel intelligence. And our intelligence agencies said serious damage, except for this outlying one from the Pentagon that the left-wing media picked up. So there is serious damage. I don't know why the left especially tried to suggest there wasn't. Remember, this is very, very ironic and paradoxical. The left told us before there was no need to strike Iran because they were months or years away from developing a bomb. There was no real existential danger now. As soon as we did hit, they said, oh my gosh, there might be uranium that could be quickly enriched. Think of that. They were hyping up the threat after this complete obliteration of many sites than they were before. The same inexactitude is true of the reaction to the Iran war. People on the right, the MAGA base, said there would be 30,000 people killed, could cause World War III. We were told by the American and European left that we were going to mix up a cauldron of hatred. We were in Iranian airspace for about 25 minutes. No Americans were killed. Probably very few, if any, Iranians were killed. Immediately, Donald Trump was able to enact a ceasefire when Iran retaliated and hit our base in Qatar with some ballistic missiles. We had 22-year-old, 23-year-old skeleton crews manning those Patriot batteries. They knocked them down. Trump did not reply. End of story. No World War III, no 30,000 killed, no endless wars. Let's take Iran. We get all of these stories that the combined Israel...
Is that it? I guess that's it. Alright. Cool. Trump's doing a pretty good job, actually. Well, I'm not surprised, but yeah, I thought that bombing was going to start a big old war, but it seems like they gave up right after that.
What was that like? Tell me what happened. Do you not want to talk about it?
Do it. Because I'm not saying anything that's like wrong. It's just something that happened.
So,
I get a call from Steve Byrne.
Okay.
And Steve goes, "You want to go to Israel?"
How long ago was this?
14 years ago, maybe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
12, 14, I don't know. And I go, "Why? I don't want to do a show there." And he goes, "No. You know, I got a call, and they're flying out a bunch of comedians and actors, and it's a free trip." And I go, "Why?" "I don't know. They just want to show us the country and their culture. And you get nice hotels, free meals, and you get a tour of like..."
Are you not performing?
No.
Nothing. Okay.
So I went there with Jamie Chung, Brian Greenberg, they're actors, and Steve Lopez went out, George Lopez.
Okay.
And we went out there, and then when we got there, they were like, "Welcome." We're like, "Thanks." And they were like, "But every day you have to tweet how great Israel is."
Every day?
Yeah, like put out a tweet.
They told you have to, and they didn't say anything about that before you left?
I don't remember them saying it before.
But they might have?
They could have.
Right, maybe they said it to Steve, and Steve conveniently left it out.
I don't know, but I do know that I feel like if they did say it, that I would have questioned it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Aware. So this is the early days of Twitter, right?
Yeah.
So when was Twitter's only like 12 years old?
It was 10 years ago then. I don't know.
How old's Twitter? Oh, there it is.
2006.
Israel Unfiltered. So 2006.
Yeah.
Look at that.
So 2006. When was that?
Look at your face.
Yeah. I have to tweet. Yeah. But here's what happened. As soon as I tweeted the first thing, I already knew, like, oh my God, I think I'm in trouble.
Why? What'd you say?
I just said, Israel's great. They're beautiful people. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And then, like, it was just like, and they flew us out here for free. And then you would just get 1,000, like, you know what I mean? That were like, you know, Palestinian, you know, and going, "You you know, and just, it was like negative. And there was these gigantic wars that would go on in the comment section.
Oh, boy.
It just got really uncomfortable. And then I just remember, you know, yeah, there I am.
Look at you. Nice hat. Bro, you should wear that all the time.
I know, I look cute with it.
Is that the famous wall?
That's the wall, yeah.
What did it feel like to be around that wall? That wall's old as fuck, right? How old's that wall?
I put a note in it.
Wow.
You could write little letters. You know what I mean?
Letters to Jesus?
Yeah. And you put
Dear
it in there.
Jesus, when you come
I think
back.
mine was like, "Let me get more pussy" or whatever. But
Nice.
yeah. But like
that wall, how old's that wall?
19 BC.
19 BC.
Yeah.
Wow.
But then toward the end, I was just like, I got to get the fuck out of here, I think. Yeah, I was just like...
How many tweets did you make? And did you keep going after they were attacking you?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
You have to.
You have
Otherwise,
to.
you don't get your hotel.
Yeah. It was like a
What
free
are you gonna
thing.
do?
And I didn't know the significance of it until later, almost. Like, you know what I mean? Or not significance, but like what the impact of it, you know?
Right.
because I obviously, I mean, obviously I have my opinions about it, you know what I mean, that I'm keeping to myself, but it's like, it's not fully aligned, you know what I mean, with what people think that I should be, You have to be careful because I live in LA and,
Oh, I hear you.
Yeah.
Look, it's a complicated issue.
It's so complicated.
And it's terrifying.
Yeah.
When you look at the video of when they do an overhead of what Gaza used to look like and what it looks like now,
it's just...
I mean...
I don't know, it's just...
It's insane. It's fucking insane.
It's going to take over a year to clean up just the rubble.
Oh, my God.
But it's like 25,000 now?
At least.
At least.
They don't know how many people are dead. They have no idea. And just half the population is women and children.
And the trauma. And the fucking, famine. It's just, I just can't even comprehend it, really.
Yeah, and the Israelis tell you that it's necessary.
Five Guys, no food, everybody dies.
It's a funny podcast.
It's all the communists. How come they don't get as much notoriety as Hitler? Is it because communists run history books or what? I don't understand it. 'Cause I mean, who killed the most people? It was Mao, right? So why do we only care about Hitler? Oh, well, maybe I shouldn't be asking dumb questions, huh? Maybe I shouldn't be asking dumb questions I know the answer to. Argentina lifts ban on assault rifles. Man, semi-automatic weapon. Man, I'm moving to Argentina. I'm moving to Argentina. I just might. No, I love America. Argentina seems great, though. I'll have to look into it. What is this? What is going on?
Push them more toward. Well, Laura, I can tell you that the overall Fed board has had two reactions to the tariffs, and it's a little bewildering to me why this wouldn't have pushed them more towards a cut or has put them on hold, because the Fed publishes something called the Summary of Economic Projections. They raise their inflation forecast, and my hunch is that's going to be wrong, but they lowered their growth forecast. So if you're lowering growth forecast, then why wouldn't you proceed? We saw, I'm just basing Fed behavior on past behavior, and we got a 50 basis point cut last September, and inflation was higher and core inflation was much higher.
Biden was in, though.
I don't know. I guess this tariff derangement syndrome happens even over at the Fed. Well, Laura, I can tell you that the overall Fed.
Liam Gallagher is about to play South Korea. So I tweeted out Ching Chong this morning. And boy, people are pissed. Johnny, why would you do that? Ching Chong. Man. Alright, let's go to the DisAlgorithm. I can't take it. Okay.
At the end of the vote, we're leaving the Senate now. At the end of the vote, when the Republicans won, they cheered. They cheered over taking away
No way.
healthcare.
They cheered?
Around 17 million people.
Oh,
they
no.
cheered
Oh.
over giving huge tax breaks to a handful of billionaires.
Did they kill your people too? They kill your people? Alright. Why is all this stuff so old? Let's see. A felon married to an immigrant is telling us the problem is immigrants and felons. No, dummy. The problem is not immigrants, it's illegals. They're not even immigrants, they're illegal invaders.
That's what Senator Paul said.
What happened?
Senator Paul said that that your vote was a bailout for Alaska at the expense of the rest of the country. That's what Senator Paul said. I didn't say it, ma'am. I'm just asking for your response.
My response is I have an obligation to the people of the state of Alaska, and I live up to that every single day. I fight for my state's interests, and I make sure that Alaskans are understood. I work hard to take care of a state that has more unique situations, more unique people, and it's just different. And so when people suggest that federal dollars go to one of our 50 states in a, quote, bailout, I find that offensive. I advocated for my state's interests. I will continue to do that, and I will make no excuses for doing that. Do I like this bill? No, because I tried to take care of Alaska's interests. But I know that in many parts of the country, there are Americans that are not going to be advantaged by this bill. I don't like that. I don't like the fact that we moved through an artificial deadline.
You're too late. You're too late.
To produce something, to meet a deadline, rather than to actually try to produce the best bill for the country. But when I saw the direction that this is going, you can either say, I don't like it, not try to help my state, or you can roll up your sleeves.
Ah, shit. Yeah. We don't like that she had to basically be bribed to vote the correct way anyways. We don't like it either. We don't like it either. Let's see. Every single House Democrat just stood united on the Capitol steps.
Veterans, stand up for our hospitals. Stand up. We are here today, united as House Democrats, to make clear to the American people that every single House Democrat will stand up for your health care, stand up for your Medicaid, stand up for your Medicare, stand up for the Affordable Care Act, stand up for nutritional assistance for our children, our seniors, and our veterans. Stand up for our hospitals. Stand up for our nursing homes. Stand up for our community-based health centers, and stand up against massive tax breaks for GOP billionaire donors. And that is why every single House Democrat will vote hell no against this one big, ugly bill. We are here today, united as House Democrats.
It's getting really lame that all these
To make clear
idiots have
to
to
the American
cuss to emphasize
people
their whatever they're
that
saying.
every single House
They all think it's cute to say a little cuss word too. It's very annoying. I'm not subscribed.
like giveaway day. Okay, so here's a quick idea for those, moderate Republicans in the House that are ultimately going to end up voting
I'm sure
for
this is going to be a great idea.
Since obviously it's like giveaway day, Murkowski got whatever she wanted. Here's an idea for you.
Yeah, she
They're
did.
spending like 150 billion on ICE. How about as part of your vote, you ask for 20 billion for Ukraine, 15 billion for Ukraine, 10 billion.
No.
How about you get some Ukraine money in there for your vote? Because it's
No. Why? Who cares about Ukraine? They ain't our ally. Who cares? They're not our ally. We don't want them to be. They're just some dumb country we took over, and now we're using them as pawns in a war against Russia. I don't care about them. I mean, I'm sorry that we did that to them. I don't want to give them more money to perpetuate it all. It's so stupid. I ain't giving them more money. Actually, I'm pretty sure Trump cut him off from any more money. Let's see, Trump, Zelensky. I'm spelling it wrong, but Trump to Zelensky. Alright, well, is there anything new? Trump, Zelensky. SKYY. It's May, June. I ain't gonna find it. And I'm pretty sure we cut him off totally, saying he ain't getting another dime. I hope so, anyways. Bookmark this, Gavin Newsom says. J.D. Vance is the ultimate reason why 17 million will lose their health care. Fire. Just taking off the illegals and illegals and people that don't exist. Let's see what she says. I'm sure it's going to be very intelligent.
I don't really understand what it is that y'all plan to go back and tell your constituents. I'm glad that some of y'all decided to show up, but the reality is that you have sold your constituents out for 83 people in this country. And each of our districts should have approximately 766,000 people. How is it that you can explain that we still are running up the credit card and we have nothing to show for it except for the fact that we won't have food on the tables and we won't have health care? And with that, I will yield.
Thank you. Representative Subramanian.
I will wrap
Jeez.
up by saying this.
What was that lady?
I don't really...
Soon, Zorhan Mandami, who in your beloved New York City may well be led by a communist soon. Zorhan Mandami,
We saw this
who
yesterday.
in his nomination speech said he will defy ICE and will not allow ICE to arrest criminal aliens in New York City. Your message to communist Zorhan Mandami?
Well, then we'll have to arrest him. Look,
Yeah.
we don't need a communist in this country, but if
Not
we have one,
very
we're
shocking,
watching
though.
over him very carefully.
You break the law, you get arrested. Immigrants are people. He never said that. Yeah, what? He's so stupid, man. Oh my gosh. When did he say that? He's like freaking retards, man, I swear. Laughing in front of a cage under a tent in the middle of a swamp. Surrounded by alligators, where they plan to hold human beings. Only crime was crossing a border. Oh my gosh. I'm sure this is dumb too. Like it all. Oh, here we go. Trump threatens to arrest New York City mayoral candidate Mamdani, calls him a communist, and says he may be in this country illegally. Facts. Mamdani is an American citizen. He is not a communist. Trump is a convicted felon. Trump fears Mamdani's popularity. Well, he could still be arrested. And, yeah, we still have laws against communism. Even if you want to call it socialism, we know what communism is. And socialism only leads to communism. Anyways, so. He even had a bunch of ads and stuff saying he was communist. Tweets and stuff. What the heck is this? Oh my gosh. Oh, a Bible lesson. They're going to teach a Bible lesson, everyone. Do not mistreat foreigners living in your country, but treat them as you would treat your own citizens. Love foreigners as you would love yourselves. Because you were foreigners one time in Egypt. I am the Lord your God. Yeah. It doesn't say try to accept them for just living there. You know, it's talking about treating guests properly. It's not. It's not telling you you must accept them as citizens of your country. It's the same treat people nicely better visiting. Do not mistreat foreigners living in your country. Alright, living in your country. But treat them as you would treat your own citizens. Love foreigners as you love yourselves, because you were foreigners one time in Egypt. I am the Lord your God. Yeah. Alright. Well, we're helping them go home. I mean, I don't know what you're all crying about. Barack Obama and George W. Bush unite to slam Donald Trump. Alright. That's so dumb. Jason Bateman. What was Jason Bateman saying?
To seek out and find. Do you think Trump would have gotten the same number of votes if the people who voted for him had access to or the curiosity to seek out and find the truth? Because they're not getting the truth over on Fox. This $780 million lawsuit is proof.
Have you seen me watch Fox?
And that was just one issue.
I don't watch Fox.
So what do you do about that? Do you think Trump would have?
What do you do about people like you that just watch NPR and CNN all day? What do you do about people like you? I am popping the bubble. We demand that Donald Trump stop arresting and detaining people with no criminal records across southern Los Angeles. Oh my gosh. Look, if you're illegal, you gotta go home. I'm sorry.
Christy Nolan are not welcome in Los Angeles, Southeast Los Angeles, Long Beach, or anywhere else in our communities. They are causing terror to people here, and they are kidnapping and arresting people with no criminal records. In addition, this massive bill that is in front of the Congress right now only supercharges the terror that could happen here
Yeah, good.
in Los Angeles.
Good. That's what we voted for. Quit being a threat to our democracy.
Of detention opportunities
Good.
for Donald Trump and Christian
That's what we
Allen.
voted for.
Please understand, these
I'm sorry you guys lost. I'm sorry.
detention centers with no due process, which
But even the immigrants don't want the illegal immigrants around.
no access to attorneys or help, and many are actually saying that they're not getting enough food or water or support. These are
Oh my
horrific
gosh.
conditions.
I'm sure that's the case, right? I'm sure you're not just lying. Yeah, I can't wait to see Pelosi and Schumer and Schiff, and Biden and Clinton, both the Clintons, and all of them under arrest. I wish it would happen. Alright. Well, that's pretty much it. I guess we learned a little bit of something to keep your eye on. Even though they just want to use it as a weapon against us. They don't care about the damn Bible. No, they don't care about the Bible. They just want to use this against us. This little Leviticus. Alright. Do not mistreat foreigners. Alright, we're not mistreating them. We're helping them go home. Living in your country. But treat them as you would treat your own citizens. Now, that doesn't mean they are citizens. Love foreigners as you love yourselves. We do. Because you were foreigners one time in Egypt. Now, the people he's talking to are the people that were enslaved in Egypt. I am the Lord your God. Yeah, so, yeah. They were enslaved in Egypt. This is saying treat people well. We're treating them well. Quit crying about having to go home. So, I mean, you're waving the flag of your home. Why don't you want to go there? You're so proud to be Mexican, or wherever you're from. It's not just Mexican. I don't believe for a minute he legitimately won any more than I believe that he was struck by a bullet. Let's see. There you go. There you go. At least we aren't banning you for saying that, like you did us. Alright. Well, that's enough for today. I'm getting mad. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye.
Some truths will be hilarious, others painful. But we must be free. We must break into the DisAlgorithm.